Welcome, Rusty. You're muted, Rusty.
There we go. Hello, Florida Toastmasters. Thank you so much for inviting me and having me tonight. So, I hold the record single-handedly in my family, not a 45 RPM, if anybody even still knows what that is. No, I hold the record for never teaching any of the grandchildren that my siblings have profanities, expletives, swear words. I have a pure mouth. But let me tell you, their mother of two of my great nieces taught the girls son of a basket weaver and what the HE double hockey sticks. How I found out that she taught them that one was driving them back from a class in town one time to the farm. In the back seat, little Virginia, sitting in her car seat, said, "Auntie Lee, what the HE double hockey sticks is that?" And I went, Miss Virginia, can you ask me your question politely, please? So she tried again. Tanty Lee, what the HE double hockey sticks is that? And I went, that's a very polite tone of voice. Can you try using politer words? She tried one more time. Tanty Lee, what is that? I said, that's a very good, really polite question. But I'm driving. By that time, whatever she was talking about is long gone, and we will never, ever know what that was. Mystery will remain there forever. I'm not exactly sure how the son of a basket weaver came about, but the mother was the one that taught them that one. Then there is their Nan, my sister. She had clients for years that would actually compete with each other to frustrate her, to get her to say turkey feathers, because that was the worst thing she would say. Not so anymore. She now utters words like a sailor, if we can use that metaphor cliche. One of the ones she taught them was dirty little buggers. This came about, I'm sure many of you might identify if you have a nice lawn, you've seeded it really well, or a new driveway on an acreage that you really put some hard work into and you paid lots of money for gravel. I mean, gravel is expensive. Well, these little ground gophers that we have in Alberta would come along, and for some reason they liked the driveway. And they would dig a big hole with their big teeth at nighttime, and in the morning, she would go out with her traps, and the two little girls would be following along beside her, and she'd go, "There's another dirty little bugger," and she'd like be scooting around the pile of dirt, and she had this little flagpole that she just would be able to find the angle of their hole just right and set a trap right there. And she was, that should catch the dirty little buggers. Well, it didn't take very long for these two little innocent girls, imagine them, little pigtails, long hair, trotting along, to be able to repeat these words in not the best scenarios. Didn't really sound great coming from them at functions that you might say had proper protocols. But their grandfather taught them the worst one, the big one, the fire truck one. He taught them that one. But you know, he kind of has a little bit of leeway about this and reason to do it, because he was a defender of safety on the farm. When the farm equipment was going, when the JCB loader was running, when the forklift was running, he had this big voice. And he would say, "Get the fire truck up to a top surface." And those girls, they would run to get to their mother's deck, or they would run to get to my stairs, or they would run to get to their nan's deck, because we taught them, especially their grandfather with his big fire trucking voice, taught them to go for the highest place so that they would be seen. Because even their mother, as much as she loved them, visibility was not great in the forklift. In fact, maybe that's where son of the basket weaver came from, because sometimes she would have one girl with her in the forklift at a time. And this one chicken knew that when she was driving the forklift and moving patio blocks and moving lumber and moving tools and building materials around, this chicken knew that when things were moved, there was fresh worms and bugs and maybe even mice. And it would hover around the forklift, and she would have to like stand up and crane out to look where that chicken was to know whether she could pivot, go sideways, go backwards, what she could do to not run over this silly little chicken that knew where the food was. But you know, my brother-in-law, he had the sweetest heart, and he told the best stories. Do not tell my three brothers that I would take him any day. If I was stranded on the desert island, forget the brothers, forget the in-law. This brother married to my sister is the best. He tells the best stories. I would never be starving on a desert island because he knows how to forage and trap and find food and fish with just whatever he can make with whatever's at hand. He is a true woodsman. So survivor, yes, I would go on a desert island with him. And he gives the greatest hugs. And let me tell you, one of his best stories ever was on another farm that he lived on years ago. They had the chicken feed barrel, and there was a little hole in the top that he'd put in and take out and feed the chickens. That farm was close to the Canadian Rockies, and chipmunks would make their way there. And they must have made it in this little hole. Maybe they might have collapsible skulls like mice. I'll have to look into that. And this little chipmunk was in there on the day that the feed was so low that the chipmunk couldn't climb out on their own accord like the others had done using each other's backs. And so he put his hand in and he says, it was kind of scared, so I had to put my hand all the way in the feed because animals will look at our hands like they're weapons. And I put it in, and then I had to look away while it's chitter-chattering at him in this angry little voice. And he felt it crawl up his arm and jump off. So the kindest heart, I would never starve. I would hear the best stories and get the best hugs because my brothers don't know how to hug. They just don't. But my sister's husband does. And he warms my heart. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Tim, if you would give us a minute to provide some feedback to Rusty.